Hello everyone, today I'm here with a video that I haven't done in a good year. So I thought it was about time I updated the list of things to watch. But this time I'm not going to do just TV, I'm also going to do films from Netflix. So everything's going to be on Netflix in the UK, that is, it's the UK Netflix as of now. Just because a lot of people also say, can you do a film one? Honestly, I forget what films I watch, so I thought if I just scroll through Netflix I can see what I watched and see what I suggest you guys to watch. Then with TV, because I now live with my boyfriend in London, it's actually harder for me to like binge watch things because we watch them together, which in a way is probably a better thing because that way I'm not just like sat watching one thing all day but over like a period of time. So the list isn't as long as the other ones have been, because the other ones have been like 20 plus. This one, I mean, it's still pretty fat, but it's not as huge as if I was on my own. Before you all start commenting on every video like I do on every video, saying, oh, why didn't you mention this one? Oh, what about this one? Oh, what about this one? I have so many other videos where I've probably mentioned it. So if you want to know, the links will be down below or at the end card of the other videos I've made of this. If I don't mention a show, it's probably mentioned somewhere else, but if you have any suggestions of what shows I should watch, please let me know because I would love to know that. We better get started because these are usually long ass videos. So I thought we'd start off with TV stuff, so the Netflix shows that have come out, not exactly like Netflix originals, but just things that are on Netflix. So the first one I have on here is You. It's a recent thing that's just come out and it's a 10-part series, as most things are, about this guy who's kind of a bit weird. By kind of, I mean really odd, and he kind of falls in love with this girl he doesn't know and then gets to know her, but in such a creepy way. It's very good. I don't want to like say too much because I don't want to spoil any of these TV programs, but me and my boyfriend watched it in like 2 days, which is a lot because like I said, we don't really like binge watch stuff together, especially Joey. He does not binge watch like any TV, so that was like, I got hooked straight away. I wasn't expecting to like it because whenever they say by the producers of Riverdale, I'm like, okay, there's no need to brag about that. It was actually very good. Also, the girl in it was really good looking. It's a little bit more creepy, so if you want something more funny, that is definitely not the one to go for, but I do recommend you go watch it because it was very good. The next one is Instant Hotel. Again, this is like a recent thing on Netflix and something me and my boyfriend again binge watched because we loved it. It's basically, if you're from the UK, you will understand. It's like 4 in a bed. So you go to each other's like houses and you rate it. You rate the place and everything like that. And at the end of it, you get like a prize if you win, if everyone votes you the best. But you all go to each other's houses and it's very good. But this is the Australian version and it's so good. There's actually drama in it. There's the most beautiful houses you get to see, because obviously I'm from England, I've never been to Australia. You get to see a whole other side of the world, basically, in a whole different country. Australia is not what I thought it was, like at all. It's really interesting and the houses are just beautiful and it's so addictive. 10 out of 10 suggest you go watch it because it is so good. Like, I'm not usually the one for this kind of stuff, but I was really hooked and there needs to be more seasons. There is not enough seasons, I want more. The next thing I have on here, I'm sure most of you have actually watched this, but for me it's brand new and I'm only partway through it. Like, I'm currently watching it now, and that is Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Now, I know it was like a huge, well, it is a huge thing. Loads of people talk about it and I was like, yeah, that'll be next on my list, but then all these like newer things would come out. So I finally had the time where there was nothing else I wanted to watch and I was like, I'm gonna put on Brooklyn Nine-Nine just because I know it's gonna be funny. I know I'm gonna be able to watch it just like in the background, but also gonna be really focused on it at the same time. So I've been watching that on my own, and then every so often Joey watches it because he's watched it before. The first season I was like, yeah, it's alright, but as soon as I got into the second season I was like, okay, I see where this hype is coming from now. Like, I find it very funny now, and I suggest you go watch it if you want something to laugh at. It's very like Office Netflix US and very Parks and Rec, but in its own way. I really enjoy it, so I definitely suggest you go watch that as well. Then we have Sex Education, which is on the list. Again, a newer thing that was onto Netflix and we watched within like 3 days. At the moment, Netflix has been bringing out the best things, and we have actually been binge watching things. Sex Education is a high school thing, but it's set in England, but it's very like American at the same time. A lot of people got confused where it was meant to be set. It's meant to be set in England and it's meant to be set in like present day, but it was all very confusing and it didn't make sense. It is really good to watch. So it's about a guy whose mum is a sex therapist, and it's pretty much a comedy. There are some like emotional moments in it. It covers like LGBTQ plus community. It covers like sex shaming. It covers quite a lot of things, but it's also got a lot of humor in it. I really enjoyed it, and I'm excited for the next season. I then have The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. This is like a take on Sabrina the Teenage Witch, but in nowadays kind of thing. I'm not sure how I feel about this, because it was very much like Riverdale, as in I watch Riverdale still, and I don't know why, because it's truly awful, but so awful I have to keep watching. I want to know what's happening next. And this is kind of on the same, like it's definitely going to go in the same direction, you can already feel it, but it was quite enjoyable. Like I very much loved watching it, but it wasn't like, wow, this is amazing, you should all go watch it now. It was quite good. Like some parts were really weird, and also the camera, I really didn't like it. They had some kind of lens on it, and I really didn't like it. If anyone else knows what I'm on about and agrees, please let me know, because it was really bothering me like the whole time. I'm interested on the second season. I feel like a lot more is going to come from it, I hope. But yeah, it was weird. I can't really remember what happened, but things did. I then have Atypical, which I have mentioned on this channel before, but I wanted to mention it again because I've watched it in the past year because another season came out. Atypical is about a young boy who's like early teens-ish, I think. I actually don't know how old he's meant to be, but he has autism. Obviously, this isn't a representation of everyone with autism. Like, I know that, and I'm sure a lot of people that watch it also know that, but it's such a feel-good, like, program. I absolutely love it. I love all the characters in it. I love season 2 like a lot. I think season 2 is a lot better than season 1. There's a lot more like background on everyone coming up, and with Casey, like her whole storyline that's coming up is, it's so cute. It's just one of those programs where you watch and it can make you cry, but it also makes you laugh, and it's just such a lovely program. I know my whole family watches it as well at home, which is weird because my parents don't really, well, my mum doesn't really do TV programs, but apparently she really likes it. Definitely suggest you have a watch of that if you've got the time, because it's honestly very good. I know some people may not agree with it, but it is very like heartwarming, and it's just a good TV program to watch. Now the next one is kind of the complete opposite. It's a Friday night dinner. If you're from the UK, you know exactly what this is probably, because it's a giant meme for some reason. But it's basically Will from The Inbetweeners, but he's not from The Inbetweeners. It's just Simon Bird being someone else, but he's basically being himself. Anyway, and it's basically every Friday night they have a dinner, and it's just stupid. It's such a stupid program. It's amazing. Me and Joey were talking though as we were watching it. We were like, the only reason this is so good though is because of Wilson and Jim. That's it. The only reason it's like so incredibly good is because of Wilson and Jim. If they weren't in it, I think it would be good, but it wouldn't be as good as it is. So if you ever see anyone go, Wilson, or Shalom Jackie, that is where that's from. Definitely suggest you watch it. I mean, it's very British humour. If you're not British and you don't really get our humour, you may just really not like this program at all because it's so incredibly British. But I personally love it. It's such a good laugh. It's good to have in the background. It's good to sit and watch it. It's just funny. It's a funny program. It's a weird and funny program. We then have The Good Place. Again, I think I've mentioned this on my channel before, but since then there has been more seasons that have come out. So The Good Place is essentially people that have died and then they're going to the good place. Now there's so much more to it than just that, but I can't tell you because it would just ruin like the whole thing of it. But it just keeps going and going and going, and I keep thinking, when's this gonna end? This isn't going anywhere. And then somehow it goes somewhere, and it's very, very good, and I absolutely love it. Again, it's one of those, you laugh at it but you also cry at it, and I love all the actors in it actually. All the actors are really like lovely people. The next one I have is The Haunting of Hill House. Now this was a Netflix original thing, and honestly it's incredible. Like, I suggest you go watch it. However, it is more of like a horror based thing, so if you don't really like horror, maybe don't watch it, but it is very, very good. It's more emotional than I thought it was going to be. Like, I cried a lot, like ugly cried a lot, which I didn't expect from this program, like at all. It's basically switching between past and present all the way through it. It's a little bit confusing at first, but you start to kind of get used to it within like the second and third episode. I wasn't too much of a fan of the first ones because I was so confused. I did not know what was going on. But once you do know what's going on, it's good. Like, it's amazing. And there's one episode where they just shoot the whole thing in 3 shots, I think it is. Like, halfway through, I was like, you do realise they haven't even like cut the camera at all, and Jerry was like, what? It was so well done, like so incredibly well done, and I really liked it. I don't want there to be another season. I kind of just want to leave it as that because it was just really good on its own. But it's basically people as children living in this haunted house, and as they get older they like relive it and stuff happens, and I can't really say much because again, don't want to spoil anything, but it's definitely worth the watch. Like, the hype was real, so don't think the hype was too much. I then have the complete opposite side of that. We have Big Mouth, which I believe again I've mentioned on this channel, but I want to mention it again because since then there's been another season. Big Mouth is a cartoon about boys going through, and boys and girls now actually. The first season was kind of just based on boys, and then the second season had more of like girls in it as well. About teenagers going through puberty. It's so funny. I'm not the one for cartoons usually, like they freak me out, I don't like it, but it's such a funny program, and weird and disgusting, and I don't know, it's such a good laugh, and you need to watch it to understand what on earth I'm on about, but that's like a hormone monster. I don't really know what this program is. I can't explain it in any way other than it's like cartoon teenagers going through puberty. We have The End of the Effing World. You probably saw this a while back. I think it was just after I filmed my last one, like last year. It's a British TV program again. It's moved onto Netflix, I believe, and it's about these 2 people, a girl and a boy, who are a little bit like outsider people, and they basically run away, I think that's how it goes. 2 kids who just don't really get along, but at the same time they get along, and it's all very like monotone, and it's just quite funny. Again, it's kind of really British, like British humour, but I don't really know. Definitely check it out though if it sounds like your kind of thing. It's definitely not like really dark, and it's also not really funny. It's kind of like that good mix in the middle, so definitely go watch that. It's not a family thing, but watch it on your own. We then have Insatiable, which honestly was so good but so bad. It's a little bit like a Riverdale thing, like it was so bad but so good. It has Debbie Ryan in it, and me and Joey watched it as a laugh. We were thinking this is going to be awful because obviously the adverts were about this girl who was really fat, and then she got really thin, and then she just got so much better, and everyone was like, whoa. That's not the main part of it. It's so funny and stupid, and it's basically following the girl and also a guy who is like her mentor kind of thing when it comes to like pageant shows, and it's so bizarre, but I absolutely loved it in every way. It was a brilliant program, and I suggest you watch it because it was just it was so weird but so worth the watch. So now that we have done the TV shows, if you have any more TV shows that are like quite new and you think we should like give them a watch, please let me know. But now we are going on to films that are on Netflix that I've watched in like the past year or so, and I know that are really good and you should go watch them. So the first one I've written down is Cam, which is again a kind of like horror film. Horror films are kind of like our thing, we really like horror films. But Cam is very weird. So it's about a girl who's a cam girl, but then someone hacks her and it's gruesome, really weird, but also good. I don't really know. We kind of finished it and we were like, oh, what did we watch? But if you like a kind of weird horror film that's more like psychological than anything else, I definitely say give it a go. It was a weird one to watch, but it was a good one to watch. We then have Gerald's Game. Again, this is a horror film, but I would say more of a thriller actually than a horror film. I don't know. We watched it with our friend Jay when he was here and it was such a good film. Like, we were really into it. It's basically a woman who goes on a like weekend trip with her husband to try and like spark things up again, and he like handcuffs her to the bed and she just gets stuck there and then he dies. That isn't a spoiler, by the way, it's like all in the advert and stuff. But he dies and she's just stuck there like handcuffed, and you like watch her try and get free. It's again really weird, but very, very good and very dark actually. I just remember that at that very second I was like, wait a minute, there was actually some really dark things in there. So if you're not comfortable with watching like sexual dark things, maybe give it a miss, because it's quite graphic, but it was a very good film and the ending was the weirdest ending. And now it's like a personal joke between all three of us. So we then have The Kissing Booth, which I'm sure you all have seen by now, but if you haven't, I'd definitely say give it a watch. It's awful, it's cheesy, it's great, it's everything a romantic comedy should be, and I love a good rom-com. Like, the more cheesy they are, the better they are. Like, I love that kind of stuff. So it's about these teenagers who are best friends, and the girl fancies her best friend's brother, and it kind of goes like that. But it was quite funny and quite good to watch. Like, it was a cheesy film, and that's why I really liked it. Next on my list of more weird things you should watch because they're weird is You Get Me. This is something I watched maybe 2 years ago, maybe like a year and a half ago, but I thought it was gonna be a cheesy rom-com. I was wrong. Weird horror film. It has Bella Thorne in it, and I think that's all you need to know, really. I just want to put this on my list because you should watch it, because everyone I talk to who I want to talk to about it hasn't seen it, and I just need someone to like talk to about it because it was so weird and not where I thought it was going. I thought it was going to be a lovely rom-com, and what was it? It was some kind of thriller. It was so weird, and I really want everyone to watch it because it was a masterpiece. So definitely give it a go. I then also have To All the Boys I've Loved Before. Now, this was actually a rom-com. This had Noah, whatever his name is. I'm not really a big fan of him, not gonna lie. He's not really my cup of tea. But I did enjoy To All the Boys I Loved Before. I know it was a hugely hyped thing. Like, it was hugely hyped. So maybe give it a watch now if you haven't. It was just nice. I mean, like, it wasn't wow, this is amazing, but it was really nice and a good rom-com, I think. He's just, I can't look at him, he's just too cheesy. It's basically about this girl who writes letters to people she fancies but never sends them, and then someone sends them, and then everyone knows. Again, don't really know what the purpose was, but it was like a sweet film. And then I've got two more things on this list that I suggest you go watch. I put them in films, but they're like documentary kind of things. So the first one is Fyre Festival. It's a really good documentary. Like, I'm not the one for documentaries, I don't like watching them. They're just not really my cup of tea in any way, but we watched this the other day, and it was so incredibly interesting and so good. Like, to see these people try and bring this absolutely nothing company into the biggest company, into the most disappointing thing ever, was so interesting, and there was so many good stories behind like everything, and definitely give it a watch. Even if it's like not your thing, it's very, very interesting. And then the last thing I have written down is Abducted in Plain Sight. Again, this is something that's new onto Netflix along with the Fyre Festival documentary, and I watched these one day after the other. It's about this woman who, when she was younger, got abducted by like their parents' friend, and she just kind of like explains through it, and her family do and stuff, because obviously she's still here, she's still alive, she's still alright. It was so disturbing, but a very good watch. Like, it was very interesting, and it was like hard to believe about most of the things, like that kind of stuff. I definitely suggest giving it a watch, because it was very, very interesting. But yeah, that is all the Netflix TV shows and films that I suggest you should go watch from the last year of me watching things on Netflix. I'm sure there's loads of other things I've watched that I've just missed as well, but if I haven't mentioned something in this video or previous videos, please let me know down below what other like shows and films you think I should watch, because I love getting a little suggestion thing, as do you, hence why you like me doing these videos. But if you did enjoy this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and maybe I can do another one of these, but just like on films that aren't just on Netflix, or TV shows that aren't just on Netflix, because obviously I don't just watch Netflix things, but I had like a huge chunk of things from Netflix. But hit subscribe button if you want to see more from me, because I upload quite a few times on this channel, and it just lets you know when I've uploaded a new video. I hope you have a little bit more of a list of things you can watch in your spare time. I hope that's helpful for you, seeing as so many of you were asking for this video. But yeah, I hope you'd enjoy this video, and hopefully I will see you again very soon.